They came out of nowhere like a calm breeze before the storm. But the universe would soon learn that tranquility does not mean weakness. Initial log, file Delta Tau, coordinates 1753. Narrator's name, Varin Lorne, senior historian of the Unified Stellar Coalition. Today, I tell you a forgotten truth, a pivotal moment in galactic history that most would rather ignore. We are here to talk about one of the greatest strategic surprises ever witnessed, humanity's rise. Do you believe in irony? Well, the galaxy discovered Earth by chance, a blue sphere orbiting an average star. It was labeled irrelevant. Its inhabitants, with fledgling technology and insignificant space presence, were categorized as non-threatening. But let me ask you, what happens when you underestimate a survivor? What emerges from a species that has learned to endure even the hostile forces of its own planet? The answer is something the galaxy was unprepared to face. The Eleutherian conglomerate, the highest intergalactic authority, dictated the rules. For newly discovered worlds, they decided humans would be an assisted, restricted species, shaped to fit. They could not explore beyond their home system without supervision. Every attempt at terraforming was blocked for environmental interests. Meanwhile, powerful civilizations like the Arcarians plundered entire sectors to feed their insatiable energy demands. And the Vordin, masters of gravitational manipulation, prepared to bend reality to their whims. The humans, they listened, they adapted. But the true strength of their patience, their ability to observe and calculate, was completely ignored. "They are harmless," the Eleutherian laughed, sitting in their gleaming spheres on Orion Prime. "A docile species, ready for integration." What no one realized was what those smiles hid. The humans were learning, developing, testing the limits of their galactic prison, until in cycle 3125 they simply stopped asking for permission. A moment that would reverberate like a gravitational wave for ages to come. And so began the Great Reckoning. This, my friends, is the story of how the species deemed irrelevant turned the galactic board upside down. The first sign of the rupture was silence. Not the silence of peace, but the kind that precedes a storm. In the central chamber of the Eleutherian conglomerate, the chief speaker, Tovan Zelion, took his place at the podium, his voice reverberating with its customary grandeur. "The Council decrees," he declared, "that human expansion in the Erindor sector must be suspended immediately." The delegates reacted with their usual indifference, but something was different. The human representative, Elira Dawn, stood up, and for the first time in recorded history, she did not smile. "Honorable members of the Council," she began, her voice firm and precise, "I must warn you, this decision will have repercussions." The room buzzed with murmurs. Humans, known for their cordiality and patience, now warning the Council. Some delegates laughed, others dismissed it, confident it was nothing more than a bluff. "Human expansion is causing discomfort," Tovan continued, with a condescending tone. "To preserve galactic stability, this decision is necessary." Elira raised a hand. The simple gesture silenced the room. "Discomfort?" she repeated. "And when the Vordin collective devastated the Drayan system, did that also cause discomfort?" She placed a data crystal on the table, its blue light reflecting on the attentive faces. "Before voting, allow me to share some economic projections." The numbers Elira presented were devastating. Human corporations managed 42% of interstellar trade, supplied 38% of rare metals, and were involved in 70% of galactic medical solutions. "This is economic blackmail," a delegate exclaimed, his voice echoing through the hall. "No," Elira replied with a calm smile, "it's simply cause and effect. If you restrict us, we will have to adjust. Nothing personal." The Council postponed the vote, but something had changed. For the first time, the delegates understood that while they had been underestimating humans, humanity had become indispensable. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to face a civilization that turns patience into strategy? If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll stay tuned for the incredible twists to come and many more epic adventures. What comes next will leave you breathless. Economic interdependence, notation recorded. That was where humanity began its true resistance, and the Council saw what it should never have ignored. That day, the Galactic Council underestimated once again the ingenuity of humanity. The warning given by Alara Dawn should have been enough. Humans didn't just plan for success, they anticipated failure. The Council, trapped in its arrogance, decided to act with overwhelming force. "Block Earth," they ordered. And so, the 7th Containment Fleet was dispatched to humanity's home system. 200 warships, aligned in perfect formation, materialized in the Helios system. The display of strength was impressive, but humanity was ready. Leading Earth's defense was Admiral Kale Renard, known for his unshakable composure. When the fleet arrived, Renard sent a simple message: "Welcome to Helios." The councillors dismissed the calm tone, believing it to be a weak attempt to defuse the situation. The fleet commander, a Dravan named Krex Jor, demanded the immediate surrender of human operations. Renard, maintaining his poise, offered an unexpected invitation. "Why don't you observe our ongoing mining operations?" While the council mocked the supposed distraction, what followed would be remembered as Operation Lunar Impact. Humanity's mining operations were, in fact, XM457 vehicles, misclassified by the council as harmless tools. Positioned around the asteroid belt, they activated gravitational fields, adjusting trajectories with surgical precision. Suddenly, the Council's fleet was surrounded by asteroids shooting in all directions, turning space into a cosmic pinball game. When Krex accused Renard of aggression, the response was glacial. "We're simply conducting legally sanctioned operations. If your ships are in the way, it's not our fault." One by one, the Council's ships were forced out of formation. What was supposed to be a show of strength became a humiliating spectacle. Once again, humanity demonstrated that they knew how to play by the rules, or bend them to their favor. The Council's public humiliation should have been a warning, but they were blinded by their own arrogance. While the 7th Fleet struggled to reorganize, yet another mining operation forced their ships to scatter again. No shots were fired, no laws were broken. The star system was literally being reshaped by civilian equipment, and the Council was powerless. "Perhaps you'd prefer to observe from a more comfortable distance," suggested Admiral Kale Renard after days of orbital chaos. Unable to maintain their position, the fleet retreated, calling it a strategic maneuver. But everyone knew the truth. Earth had drawn a line without ever breaking the rules. While the Council tried to salvage its image, humanity was already executing a greater plan. Seemingly harmless ships were repositioned, supply lines reinforced, and mysterious installations began appearing in strategic regions. But the Council, still trying to reclassify gravitational manipulation as a weapon, ignored these movements. The spark that lit the fuse occurred on an ordinary day on Earth. The Aurora's Path, a medical ship carrying 20,000 doses of critical vaccines to the Nexa Prime colony, was intercepted by a Council patrol led by Commander Rax Velor aboard the Sovereign Command. Dr. Irene Vela, responsible for the medical mission, sent a clear message. "These vaccines are time-sensitive. Any delay will cost lives." Velor, displaying the Council's typical disdain, ordered a warning shot. The explosion severely damaged the storage area, destroying 3,000 doses. No one aboard was hurt, but something deeper had been wounded: humanity's patience. Dr. Vela responded with a calmness that cut like ice. Your decision will have consequences. From that moment, the Council began to understand that they hadn't just challenged a medical ship, they had crossed the final line of a species that never forgot an affront. But it was already too late. Before that moment, Dr. Eleanor Vela was known for her unwavering patience and altruism. After 3 decades dedicated to saving lives, she had faced the impossible with calm resolve. But this was different. The security footage shows Vela standing at her command console, still in her medical uniform. Her expression, something that would later be called the look. A calm so sharp it froze any remnants of confidence in those who saw it. "Computer," she said, her voice cutting like steel, "initiate protocol Aegis." No one knew what this protocol was. It turned out that every human medical ship was equipped with hidden systems, not traditional weapons, but something far more refined. Called defensive medical systems, they used advanced scanners originally designed for diagnostics to map structural weaknesses with surgical precision. "Commander Velor," Vela said over the communication channels, "let me explain. This in simple terms. You've turned my ship into a patient, and I'm a doctor." Her tone was chillingly calm. "Those scanners you see, they now know every vulnerable point on your ship. You have exactly 10 seconds to deactivate your weapons before I perform emergency surgery." Velor hesitated. When he finally ordered surrender, it was already too late. Vela sent a direct message to humanity's leadership. They attacked children. The response echoed simultaneously from every human ship, station, and colony. No more excuses. An ultimatum was immediately sent to the Eleutherian Council. Envoy Elira Dawn entered the council chamber, wearing something far from diplomatic. A black, austere outfit, more intimidating than any armor. "In 12 hours, she said coldly, "you will have a choice, unconditional surrender, or you will learn why Earth is called a death world." The councillors laughed, but Dawn only smiled. Not the smile of before, a new one, carrying the certainty of victory. "And if we refuse?" asked the council's leader. "Then we will withdraw what we've given you, our patience." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, the council began to fear the meaning of that smile. The council's silence was almost absolute, interrupted only by the sound of futile debates and suppressed anxiety. "You have 12 hours, repeated Envoy Elira Dawn, her voice firm. "I suggest you make an intelligent decision." While the councillors engaged in endless discussion, humanity was moving, not in haste, but with calculated precision. In every sector of the galaxy, systems once ignored came to life. Supply lines were activated, outposts reorganized, and something much larger was underway. Time was running out, and the Council still didn't grasp the scale of their recklessness. When the timer reached 0, they were busy debating emergency protocols, a pathetic attempt to salvage their authority. And then, as galactic silence deepened, the face of Commander Olivia. Cade appeared on every possible screen. Not just official channels, but medical consoles, entertainment systems, even personal data banks. No one knew how. "Good morning," Cade said with a nearly casual smile, as if presenting a weather report. "We tried to be kind, we really did, but you insisted on learning the hard way." And that's when the Shadow Fleet emerged, materializing. At the edges of Council-controlled space, thousands of ships rose from asteroids that had been quietly converted into space docks. For years, humans used approved mining licenses to build, piece by piece, a force hidden in plain sight. "While you underestimated us," Cade continued, "we built this fleet, legally, inside your territory, using your own permits. The ships didn't conform to Council standards. Each one seemed designed to inspire fear. Irregular structures, angular forms, clearly developed by minds that had abandoned convention. "You think we're just survivors," Cade said, her voice carrying a calmness that would unnerve any predator. "But we prepared for the worst while hoping for the best, and now you'll see why patience is not weakness, and you ignored the signs. We warned you, but now you'll learn what it means to awaken a world that should never have been underestimated." With these words, Commander Olivia Cade activated the demonstration. In an instant, every ship in the Shadow Fleet powered their shields simultaneously, releasing an energy wave so massive that sensors in 3 neighboring sectors detected the event. The galaxy watched, stunned, as humanity transformed civilian tools into devastating precision weapons. Mining lasers, approved as necessary for heavy extraction, were now capable of cutting through battle armor with terrifying ease. Gravitational manipulators, developed for asteroid movement, became tactical weapons that destabilized entire formations. Even medical scanners, designed for diagnostics, mapped structural weaknesses with surgical efficiency. "You approved every component of this fleet," said Cade, her icy smile unwavering. "You never bothered to ask why we needed such powerful lasers or such precise manipulators. You trusted we were weak, and that's where you failed." Her tone shifted, the calm giving way to something darker, almost foreboding. "We followed your rules. We filled out your forms. We smiled as you treated us as inferior. But when you threatened our children, you crossed the final line. The Shadow Fleet fired no shots. It didn't need to. Its mere presence, imposing and absolutely prepared, forced the Council to reconsider everything they thought they knew about strategy. 20 minutes later, the surrender was announced. There were no explosions, no heroic battles, just the collective realization that in their arrogance, the Council had provoked the wrong enemy. When Envoy Elira Dawn entered the chamber to formalize the surrender, she held an ancient Earth artifact, a fountain pen. "Because some things," she said, her gaze unflinching, "must be written with permanence." What humanity did next was even more impactful. They began to rebuild. Trade permits were simplified, medical systems universalized, and transport routes reorganized. They didn't seek revenge. They sought efficiency. And so, the galaxy began to understand that humanity didn't need to be kind. Their courtesy was a choice. They achieved the impossible. They turned chaos into order, despair into hope. And most importantly, they transformed the galaxy into something better. "And what about our traditions?" a councillor shouted during one of the final reform sessions. The response came from Elira Dawn, her voice firm with the weight of a leader who had seen the worst and chosen the best. "Traditions that cost lives are traditions that need to change." Under human leadership, reforms advanced rapidly. Dr. Elena Vela, now head of the new Galactic Medical Corps, implemented emergency protocols that eliminated unnecessary bureaucracy. For the first time, lives took priority over paperwork. Admiral Kale Renard restructured the Council's military forces, introducing real training in place of ceremonial drills. And Commander Olivia Cade, leader of the legendary Shadow Fleet, transformed the once feared ships into symbols of rapid response, bringing aid to natural disasters and humanitarian crises. But the true victory wasn't force. It was the lesson. The galaxy, once paralyzed by bureaucracy and arrogance, saw how progress was possible when rules existed to serve, not to limit. Humanity didn't seek vengeance, nor did they impose supremacy. They showed a better way, a path everyone could follow. Today, centuries later, their impact is still felt. Human ships, now on diplomatic and medical missions, carry supplies to those in need. Their technologies continue to transform lives. But no one forgets. No one forgets how humanity's patience was mistaken for weakness, how their hands that healed and built could, if necessary, destroy. Every council chamber now displays a small plaque with simple words: "Patience is a virtue." Never underestimate it. And that, students, I say as I conclude this historical recording, is Earth's legacy. They weren't the first to fight. They were the first to win without fighting. But remember this, if a human ever tells you they tried to be kind, don't argue, don't hesitate, just run. With one final command, I end the recording satisfied. The death world taught us to live better, but it also reminded us of the cost of forgetting its lessons. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to face a civilization that turns patience into strategy? If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll stay tuned for the incredible twists to come and many more epic adventures. What comes next will leave you breathless.